Hi, in this video, we'll talk about 3 steps that will make you get a developer job at ease. Now, while there are several jobs out there, several people competing for the same position just like you're doing, there are little things you can do to stand out. And that's basically what we'll be looking at in this video. In case you don't know, big organizations or some of the tech giants that you know, or even every technology organization actually have a recruitment process. In this process, they have someone who is going to go review your portfolio. Now, the annoying thing is, after you might have spent several hours putting all this portfolio together just to make sure that it looks good and presenting, the employer only have like 2 to 5 minutes to review it. And it's not because they don't want to really spend more time on your portfolio. It is because they have several portfolios to review, and they have like little amount of time to be able to decide who to pick. So as a result, they spend just less amount of minutes on your portfolio. So the question now is, will you rather pay attention to what matter or what the employer is looking for, or spend the whole of your time trying to make sure that your portfolio looks beautiful? Let me guess, you want to understand the little tips that you need in order for you to be shortlisted. One of the steps is your daily activities. Your regular activities really matter because sometimes we pay attention to the links, project that we've done, but the truth is, companies are not really interested in those projects because one, you didn't even build it for them. Perhaps you built it while you were learning something, or you built it for someone else. So what do they really care about? They want to know how you spend your days. They want to know how you spend your week. They even want to have an idea of how you spend your weekend. They want to know things that you did not quite long, right? Not about really project, but the activities that you carry on day in, day out. Those are the things they want to have idea of. Now, as for developers, there are several ways to check some of these things, but the easier way is through your Git. Now, your GitHub repo tells a lot about you. Oftentimes, we say that we have passion for programming, we have passion for code, but does your GitHub repository say the same? So it is not about you having it on your portfolio that you have passion for programming, then they go to your GitHub repo and see that the last commit you made was like 5 months ago. That doesn't show that you were passionate about programming. How about they go to your GitHub repository and they see that you commit almost every 24 hours. There is no employer that won't consider you. Because 1, you've shown commitment. 2, you've shown that every day you do this thing. Every day you do this thing. So there's nobody to argue with you because 1, the data signature that you've been painting is paving way for you. So it's more like if you keep 2 people and you say they both have passion for something, and I have a trace of seeing one doing the thing every day, and I see another one once in a 5 months, of course, it is well clear and the decision making for me is pretty clear. So if you want to stand out, make sure that you commit to your GitHub repository every day. You might not be using GitHub, you might be using Git buckets, whatever it is, just make sure that you commit to it almost every day, because that's how you can show and express that you have passion for programming. Now, moving to the second one, which is personal projects, personalized projects. Yes, this is actually quite interesting that I'm talking about this because for you to build up a portfolio, you actually have project links, but that's not enough. How personalized is your project? Now, when the employer look at your project, do they see other people's signature on it? Can they really say that you build the project? So take for instance, you're learning how to program, you go to boot camps, you go to platforms where you need to learn, they'll give you exercises, they'll give you projects to do. And at the end, you just leave the project like that and you submit the same project to an employer. Don't forget, this is a boot camp. Several people take that same project. Several people as well will be looking for that same job. Several people will submit that same project. So how do you want the employer to consider you when you're submitting something generic? But here's the trick. If you're learning and you're given a project to do, always have a spirit of personalization. Perhaps you had more buttons, add more animation, change the color, add more functionality. Just think about several things that you need to add to that same project, and you will see that things will look different. And of course, everybody will know that it is your project, even when it is clear to them that you have had that experience from a particular platform. But of course, you've personalized the project, and that's basically what you're looking for. The last but not the least, which we oftentimes underestimate, is good written communication. I know what you're thinking might be oral communications and the likes, but that's not what I'm talking about. Good written communication. As a programmer, one thing that you need to pay more attention to again is how to communicate with your code. Not just communicating to the machine, but how do you document things? How do you document some of your actions in such a way that a normal programmer like you can have an idea of what you intend or what your program is doing? Just so you know, every tech company is built on documentation. Every tech company is built on documentation. So if you want them to consider you, you need to be able to show that strong ability to document. And one way to document is through README files. Make sure that your README file is not just a one-liner, oh, I built this with JavaScript, CSS, and HTML. No, that's not enough. So imagine some of your functionality in the project, if you can list it out. So let's take, for instance, this project was built with so tools, HTML and CSS, which is fine, and JavaScript, that's okay. But diving deeper, if you can still tell them some of the functions you've written inside, some of the loop condition statements you've done, that to make people understand that, oh, in this program, this is what to expect. If it is a blog post that you've done or blog website that you've done, what made up those blog websites? Do you have some pagination in it? Do you have some tagging system? Do you have some functionality that will interest people to even want to read your source code? So that's basically what we're talking about. Your ability to be more detailed in some of these things have a very huge role to play. The more you can do these things, the better for you, because these are things that will set you out. These are things that will make you stand out from the so many noises looking for a job out there. And once you can do this, you become a better programmer. You'll see more opportunities and employers will be able to contact you. Now, having said all of this, one thing I also still want you to recognize, or one thing I want you to take note of, please, is your ability to communicate in the first instance. Your ability to communicate in the first instance is still a big deal. Take, for instance, when you see a strange number calling, how do you pick those calls? Do you just pick and start shouting? How you comport yourself really matter, because like they always say, the first impression really matter. Of a truth, first impression really matter. So whenever a call comes in, make sure that you're very calm, comport yourself, and make sure that you don't have any distraction. And if there's any distraction at all, you can tell the person to call you back that it's not a good time, or you're going to reach them back. These kind of things are things that also paint some value into the mind of an employer. And that's how we wrap it up for today. If you like these videos, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And I'll see you in the next one.